Moving down the centuries, next week's Broadway musical gives you the chance to brush up your Shakespeare with the great Cole Porter version of The Taming of the Shrew, Kiss Me Kate, starring Catherine Grayson, Howard Keel and Anne Miller, next Tuesday at 6:45. Tomorrow at 9:45, BBC Two presents the first in a 5-part dramatisation of Wilkie Collins' mystery thriller, The Woman in White. The effects of a young drawing master's strange encounter on Hampstead Heath follow him to his new post in a Cumberland household.
Night before I arrived here, I met with an adventure.
May I hear it?
You have a claim to hear it. The chief person in the adventure was a total stranger to me. But she mentioned the name of the late Mrs. Fairley in terms of the sincerest gratitude and regard.
My mother. I'm Laura Fairley. Welcome to Limmeridge. Look there, Mr. Hartwright. Surely you will acknowledge your ideal pupil is found at last.
Why do you choose to dress so simply, Miss Fairley?
It is due to a natural aversion to the slightest personal display of her wealth. Nor will she show me to disadvantage. Marion. I like white.
Is this from your mother?
Yes.
The Woman in White starts tomorrow at 9:45 on BBC Two.
To work.
Back to this evening. William Woolard introduces the first of a new series of the popular motoring programmes as BBC Two gets back into Top Gear.
Hello and welcome to the first in a new series of Top Gear. And since we've just had the Easter weekend, which has drawn many millions of motorists out onto the motorways again, we thought we'd spend at least part of tonight's programme looking at motorways, at those heavily criticised motorway service areas, like this one on the M5 near Bristol, at the job of the motorway police, and at new fashions in motorway travelling. Motorways now account for something like 9% of all motoring in this country, around 470 million journeys a year, and despite all the stories of motorway madness and so on, it's pretty safe motoring. They account for only 1.5% of all motoring accidents. Not so happy, however, is the reputation of these service areas. Ever since the first one was opened at Newport Pagnell in 1960, they've come in for every kind of criticism. Poor service, unappetizing food, very high prices. Now, Peter Pryor presented a report to the government in 1978 on these motorway service areas. Mr. Pryor, what were your main recommendations to the government?
Well, I don't think that I can claim that the government has obediently implemented all my recommendations. What I can claim is that we've got a better situation now than we had. It's been a sort of catalyst. People have talked about it. For example, the main problem I saw before was that we had to pay rent to the government for all the sites, so that every pound you spent in a motorway service area, a proportion went to the government. Now, the Conservative government has decided to sell off the sites to the operators, and I think in consequence we shall get very much better service.
What about the environment, the restaurants and so on?
Well, we recommended that they should provide better facilities for transport drivers. As far as I know, these haven't been implemented, but the arrangements for ordinary car drivers and so on, the sort of place we have here, I think there's been a significant improvement, especially in those of certain companies. One of the things which was most important was that customers should have the benefit of competition. Before, you simply could not tell when you approached the motorway service area who owned it. But now on the signs you will see it says Truss House 40 motorway service area or Granada motorway service area, so that people know what to expect when they get there.
And you hope that that will introduce a certain amount of competition between different sites?
Well, I think it has unquestionably caused operators to pay much more attention to the standard of service they provide. There is one disappointing thing, and that is that the government has not followed one of my recommendations, and that was to say on those distance signs, you know, the ones that say services 1 mile and 25 miles, they haven't put up the signs which say who are the owners of the next one down as well, so that you then have a choice.
What other key changes would you like to see made in the motorways?
Well, we recommended that there should be an independent body set up, a small body with a name attached to it, so that people could say, this is Mr. Motorway, and if I want to complain, I can write to him, and that he should run a very small, cheap inspection service. Now, as far as I know, they haven't done that. It's still inspected by the Department of Transport, which is rather an anonymous sort of body. People don't write complaining letters to the Ministry of Transport with much expectation that anything will happen about it.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. OK, let's leave motorway series areas for the moment and go to a group of people who some motorists love to hate, but who have the unenviable job of picking up the pieces when things go wrong on the motorway. The motorway police. Top Gear joined a patrol car at the start of a day's shift.
There are no typical days for motorway police, and there are no boring days either. We drivers see to that. The first call was to a car stranded on the hard shoulder. It's surprising who you meet if you're a motorway policeman.
There's two cars here, one due for the first car.
What's happened is our de novo tyre blew out, which they're not supposed to do. The sidewall went completely. The car went rocketing from side to side, and we managed to draw in here on one side. The sidewall is split all the way around, and its run flat capacity is truer than their advertisements say. It's run flat on the rim. So we're due to, you're not going to believe this, we're due in a BBC quiz 20 minutes ago, and I've managed to get a panic call through to the quiz. We now don't know. The AA won't turn out in less than 4 hours. The police say you've got to remove the car from the motorway in less than 4 hours. So there's a catch-44 in that somewhere. So we're going to take the keys away and abandon the car. If any of your viewers want a car with 3 wheels and a funny noise from the back, they're welcome to come and collect it.
Are you furious?
Resigned. I don't mean I have resigned, I am resigned.
Oh.
I think it's quite good for one to have the same kind of thing happen to us that happens to the people that ride to it.
What happens to the vehicle? Is this going to be a problem for you?
But in this case not, because they followed the correct procedure, contacted our police control post and arranged a breakdown to turn out and recover it. In this case the AA are coming out to it. The keys are being left at our police station, which in this case again is fortunate. It's just across the road there, so there's no problem.
Okay,
Drop in behind him as he goes through.
if we operate a wedge.
I've never done a slow one like this before.
First day behind him.
Stop these lorries making a
The call has gone out to all available patrols to help an ambulance get through to hospital. The patient has a severe hemorrhage, and so the ambulance driver can only travel at a very steady 20 miles an hour. The patrols in this case have the job of preventing the ambulance from being buffeted and harried by passing traffic. The drivers behind may be irritated, but what they don't know is that there's a further problem for the ambulance.
I think they're surviving on their own inboard batteries. Well, they've been coming across from Wales, so about this stage in their journey, they're getting very low on battery life. So it's important now that he keeps going, because the hospital itself, Frenchay, is just about 2 miles away now.
There's always someone who tries to be clever and overtake on the inside, but he's quickly blocked by the rear police car. The 3 cars act like sheepdogs as they help the patient safely to hospital. With holiday time on us, what single piece of advice would the police give to keep the driver out of trouble?
Yes, well, try and keep your distance, a safe gap between vehicles, because although motorways appear to be safe, invariably, if something goes wrong, it goes wrong very quickly. And if you haven't got enough space between yourself and the vehicle in front, you're going to be in trouble. Again, the Highway Code talks about a 2-second rule, a gap between vehicles of 2 seconds, or in terms of 1 yard for every mile per hour speed of travel. But the safe rule is never get faster than the overall stopping distance, never get closer than the overall stopping distance involved with your speed. So if you're travelling at 50 miles an hour, that's 60 yards, and that's the safe gap you should be travelling at.
We're now approaching a 2-vehicle road traffic accident. We don't know whether there's any injuries or not. But the extra problems here is we've got 2 lanes closed because of roadworks, so I'd imagine it's probably just a shunt type accident. And in those type we don't usually get a lot of injuries. You can see how quickly the traffic piles up.
Invariably it's going to be because people are travelling too closely together and haven't allowed themselves enough distance to stop. One vehicle's made a mistake, rammed at the back, pushed him forward and somebody else.
What's your first priority now in this situation? It's to clear this lane because obviously we've got roadworks on the other side of the carriageway there now. 1 lane of traffic coming through on the M5, and if you don't clear it, it's going to fall straight back. There's 3 into 1 won't go, and this is the situation which we've got. We can soon clear this one over here. In fact, that one can go. Your vehicle will drive at all. If we can just get it over onto the hard shoulder. No. I don't think you need it with over.
Remember what happened? Well, yes, we were coming along, and as you see, they've got road repairs, and 2 cars in front of us. One of these obelisks had gone onto his path, so they stopped, and the stupid chap got out of his car to pick up the obelisk and to put one side. And we were 2 or 3 cars behind. We all stopped, then the lorry at the back just concertinaed us all into the other car. People are stupid, I think, to stop and get out of their cars on the motorway.
Yeah. He's probably told you. I was just coming up the road, I was following him, and a bloke in a Capri, we think, stopped to move a bollard over. And the Datsun stopped, then the Stag did, and I just skidded right into the Stag, and they went up the arse of everyone else.
And there's no end to the foolish things that some people will do on a motorway.
It gets quite humorous in the middle of the summer. Traffic down on this part of the M4 and M5 gets so busy that we have 15, 20 mile queues solid. We have the old favourite picnics on the side of the road, people walking the dogs, horse boxes broken down. I even had them walking the horses down the hard shoulder. It's amazing. Yeah. I've been here so long that I can't be surprised anymore.
Well, I think that film illustrates once again that when they're travelling at high speed, people tend to drive